Hi all, good morning. I wanted you to go through a series of examples to get used to the mechanics of dealing with goodwill for in the partnership sort of section of your exams. Sorry, forgive me, I have a bit of a cold, so I'm going to be blow my nose now and then, so sorry about that. Okay, I wanted you to look at example 16. That's on page 74 of your textbooks. Let's see, where's my pen? Where's that? Okay, page 74. Draw. Page, yes, page. Draw, where are you? Here we are again. Let's come here. So page 74 of your textbooks. So let's just look through this example, and I want to walk through the mechanics, which is something you must naturally do. We can think about the concept, about the thinking behind it, but you just need to know the mechanics first of all. We're going to discuss the concepts, but the mechanics you must know. So it says that you have two characters here, Peter and Paul, in partnership for a number of years, sharing profits equally. The balance on Pete's account is 100 and Paul's account is 80,000. So what you see straight away is, you see, I'm just going to create another sheet here using both. I'll keep flicking between the two. What we have here is they tell you what their capital accounts are. So you have, you have Pete and you have their capital accounts. So their capital accounts, we're talking about this being on the credit side. So let's just go back again to see what we see that, and we see that here. 180 on the credit side. Then it says a new partner is coming in and he wants to bring in 60,000 of cash. So if I come back here, what does that mean? Remember, these are just sole traders just working together. So he wants to do bank 60,000, and whoever his new name is, the person, it would be 60,000 here as well. So let's go back here and see what we're in for. So if you look on the next page, you will see that this new person who's called Phil is going to come in, and he's going to put 60,000 here on the credit side of their capital accounts, and there's a bank account they're just not showing us, right? Okay, great. Let's carry on. Then it says that that on the admission that the profit sharing ratio will be 2/5, and will be 2/5 of profits for Pete and Paul, and 1/5 for Phil. So it's going to be 2/5, 2/5, 1/5. That's what they're going to do. And it says the goodwill is going to be 30,000. So let's go through the mechanics. I said to you that what we do is we have created a new asset here, an intangible asset called goodwill. And what we're saying here is we have this intangible asset called goodwill. It's an asset of 30,000, and initially this asset is split between the existing partners. And I believe it tells us that currently they're sharing things equally. So first of all, the first thing we do is split that goodwill between the two partners. It's an asset, so you have Pete, and Paul sharing that asset equally of 15,000 and 15,000. So let's go back to this and see what this means. What's this? If you look here, you can see the 15,000 and the 15,000. So there's a goodwill account here. That's the goodwill account. 30,000 here, and that's the 15, and that's the 15. Then what are we saying? We're now saying that what happens next is that we now eliminate the goodwill based on the new profit sharing ratio. So we now get rid of that goodwill that we just, if you like, discussed. Because, and I'll talk about that in a second, but I just want you to be so comfortable with the mechanics. Now I'm getting rid of the goodwill. So by getting rid of the goodwill, I credit the goodwill account and divide this 30,000 in the new profit sharing ratio of the three partners. So you have 12, 12, and 6, right? This is 2/5, 2/5, 1/5. So this is the opposite side of this. The goodwill's gone. So in effect, what have I done? I've taken 6 away from Phil's 60,000, right? So, and in effect, I gave Pete and Paul 15. Where is my pen? 15 and 15 each. here, and then I took 12 and 12 away, which means I actually gave them 3 and 3. So let's really see what's happening here. This is the mechanics, right? But in reality, what really happened was that with his 60,000, Phil has purchased a share of the recorded assets. He's recorded a share of the recorded assets, what we can see, for 54,000. He's also had to pay for this goodwill, which he can see. And what has he done with this 6,000? Ultimately, what is ultimately done, if you look at the bottom of your notes on page 75, it says that he has effectively bought this from Pete and Paul for 3,000 each. Right? Which is why Pete and Paul have increased their Pete and Paul's by 3,000 each. Ultimately, right? Because 15 minus 12 is 3. So the mechanics you have to know. This is how we deal with it. Someone else can just say, oh, and why don't I just write 54 and give Pete and Paul 3 and 3. Yes, you could do that technically, but that's not how we do it. This is how we do it. By creating a Goodwill account and then creating the asset of Goodwill, giving it to Pete and Paul first, then eliminating it via the new profit sharing ratios. That's how we arrive at what Phil should give. Okay, great stuff. So that's example 16. Okay.